Good morning, I'm Tom Bagwell, and welcome to Hello Health, a partnership with the Ochsner Health System and Humana to bring Ochsner's Hello Health weekly education and information series to you. Our topic this week, all of the diets out there. Which ones actually work, and do some of them work better for some people than others? Our guest is obesity medicine specialist, Dr. Amanda Fontenot. First, some background. Dr. Fontenot received her medical degree from the Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. She did her residency in internal medicine at the Ochsner Medical Center, and she is a diplomat with the American Board of Obesity Medicine. It is our pleasure to welcome back to the program Dr. Amanda Fontenot. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Thanks for being here. What got you interested in this whole idea of eating and medicine and how all those come together?
Oh, because the way we eat definitely affects your health, and you can take medication for certain problems, and I mean, it's not to say that taking medicine is bad or that diet can fix everything, but certainly the way that we eat has a lot to do with how you feel. It has a lot to do with helping out whatever your treatment plan is to help your health, improve the way that you feel, and move things along with whatever the plan is along with your doctor.
This should be a fun program. We're going to go through a lot of diets, a lot of them you've heard about, some perhaps that you haven't. But any general feeling from you and your colleagues about dieting rather than just a balanced diet and eating healthy? Because a lot of these are fad diets and those sorts of things.
Right. So the first thing is, what is a diet? So there's a couple of ways you could define a diet. So a diet could just be the pattern in which a person eats. So whatever habits you have as far as your intake of food. So those could be some things that are great, some things that are not so great. They could be for a particular reason or not. The other definition of a diet is some kind of restriction that one puts on what they eat, and that's the one that's usually taken more in my arena to lose weight or to control some other kind of medical issue. So in that framework, some of these will be for different reasons. Some of them are things people do to try to lose weight. Some of them are things that people do to try to improve just general health or medical problems, blood pressure, things like that. Some of them are more in the tone of just increasing nutrition overall.
Well, let's start at the beginning of the alphabet, and we're going to start with the apple cider vinegar diet. What is it?
So apple cider vinegar came kind of into the public knowledge probably in the past few years. It became pretty popular, with the idea being that vinegar blocks the absorption of certain carbohydrates and sugars, and that would keep it from raising your blood sugar. And the thought that is advertised is particularly targeting the midsection. With the apple cider vinegar diet plan, what people typically do is drink apple cider vinegar either by itself or in some kind of drink, like either in water or mixed with some kind of beverage. Some of them are sold commercially. Sometimes people make them themselves, and they drink this a few times a day, usually before meals. It probably is not going to make a significant effect as far as weight. It won't do anything to hurt a person. It's a perfectly digestible, ingestible substance. I tell people they may do better using the apple cider vinegar to make a nice salad dressing and use it to make a nice healthy salad.
What is the blood type diet, and does your blood type influence the way you should eat?
So I would say the blood type diet was a book that came out in perhaps the 90s. And the theory behind it being that if you had A, B, or O blood type, that it would mean that you should eat certain foods. And if you ate those certain foods, that it would optimize your weight. It really does not make any sense from a medical standpoint. So the idea being that if you have one blood type, if you eat more meat, that will help your weight. If you have another blood type, you should eat more carbohydrates, and that will help your blood type. There's nothing particular to a person's blood type. What your blood type is determined by little antibodies that are on the outside of your cells, sort of, that would make anything happen in terms of how you metabolize calories or different foods, or if you're sensitive to different foods. There's not really a correlation there. So the blood type diet, while I still occasionally get a question about it here or there, I think had a heyday and has mostly, gone out to pasture.
Can we take it a step further, knowing that everyone's body is different, and we're seeing more and more targeted medicines now, especially in the area of cancer treatment, right? Could diets be targeted to individual bodies, which may include blood type as part of the makeup, but so many other things go into each of our bodies?
There are companies now that are using some genetic testing to try to design diet plans. I just don't know if we know enough about how a lot of the genes work to really use that to optimize some things.
We'll file that one under to be continued.
Yes.
This is one I was excited to hear about, the coffee lovers diet. What does that entail?
So the coffee lovers diet, it just sounds made for New Orleans, right?
Yes, it does.
So this diet entails drinking several cups of coffee a day. So like 6 to 8 cups of coffee a day, with the theory behind it being not only the caffeine in the coffee helps you to lose weight, but a certain chemical called polyphenol in the coffee, which is an antioxidant, is to help you lose weight. The author of the book has done a series of his own studies that compare people without coffee and people on a certain type of coffee that's high in polyphenols, that compare how they feel, their weight loss, their appetite, and the people on the coffee do better than those who are not. However, that's not the best study, because ideally you would compare like people on just your regular plain old coffee, and people who are on coffee with this high polyphenol level. And the other glitch is that the author of the book sells the coffee with a very high polyphenol level. So it's hard to tell if it really works. We do know that coffee has caffeine in it, which is a little bit of a stimulant and has some appetite suppressing qualities. Coffee in and of itself is not a bad thing, and overall moderate coffee consumption, like say 2 or 3 cups a day, has been shown that it might even be good for you, probably isn't bad for you. And that, you can have a couple cups of coffee a day with no problem. 6 to 8 cups a day could be a problem. You could run risk of little irregular heartbeats and things like that, especially people might be extra sensitive to caffeine. So I would say if you like your coffee, have a couple cups, but I would be wary of
too much
and of, the study information in this particular design.
The problem with coffee is 1 month it's good for you, 1 month it's bad for you. The research seems to always be changing. But a couple of cups, okay. 6 to 8 cups, not recommended by you.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the DASH diet? And it seems to include a lot of healthy things. Is this the kind of diet you would recommend in your office?
So the DASH diet, DASH stands for Dietary Approach to Stopping Hypertension, is more one of these eating plans that a person is going to do to address their health rather than their weight. There is a little bit of a weight loss when people do start it, and that weight loss has been shown to continue. But even outside of the weight loss, the biggest benefit is lowering of blood pressure. And so,
what's in the DASH diet?
So the DASH diet includes lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains. It does include usually a handful of nuts a day, no red meat, very low salt, and the proteins that are in it would be very lean proteins, but limited as far as the amount of meats, limited eggs and dairy, things like that. So it is a very healthy way of eating. It's designed more to help people with their blood pressure. The thoughts being that a lot of the amino acids and things like that that are found in the vegetables, the nuts, and the things that are in the diet help to lower the blood pressure. Also, it's very high in things like potassium that are good for your blood pressure. That those things are where people get the benefits from. And so it has been shown to have good results as far as bringing down blood pressure. So for someone who maybe has hypertension and is looking for a way again to help work along with their doctor, work along with medication if they need it, and bring that down, this is something that has been shown to help and is a very just generally healthy way of eating.
Our next diet, something trending on the internet these days, the boiled egg diet. And does it have to be boiled? I mean, I love eggs. We eat a lot of eggs in our family.
The boiled egg diet, it does specify boiled. It entails eating about 4 to 5 boiled eggs a day throughout the day, and the rest of your meals would consist of chicken or fish, fruit, and vegetables. What this really is beyond a boiled egg diet is a high protein, low calorie diet and a low carbohydrate diet also. The boiled egg diet is supposed to have you lose, I believe they say like 12 pounds in 2 weeks or something, really a big weight loss in a short period of time.
Also known as the reunion diet, right?
Right, or
right.
a wedding, or
yeah, that's right.
Something along those lines. So definitely, moving right along the next letter in the alphabet, it's a fad diet. So this is something it's probably not sustainable because I can't imagine anyone. Eggs are great, but that's a lot of eggs to eat every day. And it is very restrictive because outside of the eggs, there's not a lot. And the reason that you lose weight is because you're just eating eggs, chicken, fish, fruit, and vegetables. It's not any magic from the eggs. It's just that you're really restricting your calorie intake. And so you do lose some weight really quickly. But if you don't keep that up, that weight's going to come right back.
Eggs good for you? Bad for you?
Overall, I'd say eggs in most studies come out either favorable or neutral. There was a lot of thought that eggs in the past were not good for you, that they raised your cholesterol a lot. We know now that that's not so much of a concern and that you can include eggs in a diet, probably up to a couple of eggs a day, and you can have the whole egg. All the vitamins in the egg are in the yolk. That's where you get all your B vitamins and things like that. And so, eggs usually come out favorable to neutral. So there's no need to be afraid of eggs. And I tell people if they are worried, just spend a little bit extra on the omega-3 eggs, and then you get your healthy omega-3 fats as well.
News I wanted to hear. Eggs are common enough, but the term FODMAPs is less familiar. What is FODMAPs?
So FODMAPs is fermentable oligo monosaccharides and polyols. And so those are all either sugars or chemicals within foods, and then fermentable being the way that they're digested, that people would try to avoid. This is another one for health reasons, done usually to try to get to the bottom of some kind of stomach or GI issue. And so this entails limiting a lot of things. So those types of sugars are found in fruits and vegetables, beans and legumes, your dairy products. It's a pretty long list of things. And so starting this off, a person would eliminate all of those items, which would leave them mostly with just proteins and some limited vegetables. There would be maybe a few fruits left. And then what they would do is hopefully, if their stomach problems improved, kind of gradually work things back in one by one so they could try to pinpoint what caused their problems. At the heart of this is kind of what people call leaky gut syndrome, which is the thought that some of those foods and the process of breaking them down can cause a lot of problems in the intestines where digestion gets off track and the intestinal bacteria gets off track. And so if they can eliminate those foods, it'll help with their stomach issues. And so it is something done more for health reasons. It's not something a person would keep up. It's just something a person would do to try to eliminate everything and sort of find out what's at the root of their stomach issues.
There was a New York Times bestseller called The 10-Day Green Smoothie Cleanse. What goes into a green smoothie, and is this something you recommend?
So anything called a cleanse, I would be wary of, because your body can cleanse itself. As long as your major organs are working, you're kind of okay from that standpoint. So green smoothies usually consist of your leafy greens, so something like kale, spinach, things like that, blended up usually with some kind of fruit to make it more palatable, and then sometimes herbs, spices, things like that. Usually on a cleanse type of system, that's all a person is having for most of their day. Maybe they have a little bit of, more food to eat, maybe once a day, but it would be very, very limited. And so things like that, again, it's something that you're not going to keep up. If you do see any weight loss, it's probably because you dramatically dropped your calorie intake. And in this case, you also would have eliminated a lot of protein at the same time and not gotten a lot of other nutrients in. So probably not something sustainable or that you could do long term. And also, as far as the cleanse part, probably not necessary. If you want to just get rid of a lot of sugars and other things like that in your diet, you can get rid of them. You don't necessarily have to do green smoothies to eliminate those foods.
The Harvard Healthy Eating Plate, what does it look like, and how does it compare to the old pyramid we used to see in the school cafeteria?
So I think it is a much easier representation, and I think it does a much better job of delineating between sort of healthier choices and your more processed, less healthy choices. So it does make a distinction between, drinking water and calorie-free beverages. They do put coffee up there, and so coffee is okay with Harvard. It makes a difference between whole grains and processed grains, between your lean proteins and then limiting your processed meats and things like that. So I think it does do a good job of delineating what types of foods you should also be choosing. And it also, proportion-wise, is a little bit better because it doesn't give up so much room to a lot of those refined carbohydrates and things like that that the old food pyramid did on the bottom. And it does make some room for things like, some of the healthier fats, things like that. So I think it's just an easier graphic for people to kind of take in. And I think that it sort of makes those choices a little bit easier to understand and break down.
This is obviously something you would recommend.
Yeah, I think this is a really good way for people to kind of get the basics, especially, just kind of as a starting place. If we're talking to, a younger group that's learning, or people who are really just getting their first idea of getting started with good nutrition habits, I think it's a very good starting place.
All right, we've still got a lot to get to, so we're going to quicken the pace just a little bit. Intermittent fasting, what is it?
So intermittent fasting is a period of where you do not eat. It can vary from an amount of time of usually more than 12 hours. So sometimes up to 16 hours, sometimes 24 hours. Some people even have fasts go on for days. And then a period where you do eat, and then you start over again. So intermittent fasting has been made very popular lately. There's a very popular book about it called The Obesity Code. And it does have some basis in history for fasting. This is another one we've had more studies done recently, and there haven't been a lot of really large samples of people that have done it. What you do see with intermittent fasting is that there are a lot of cellular changes where cell repair tends to happen faster. Something called autophagy, where cells sort of clean themselves up and get rid of old bad cells, tends to happen faster. And so it's definitely thought to be some health benefits, and that's even outside of weight loss. As far as weight loss, what it seems to do is give people a way to restrict their calories. And some people don't mind doing it in that way, where they almost rather just not eat for a period of time rather than just have to eat a little bit, over a longer period of time.
Ketogenic, keto diet has been big news lately. What can you tell us about it?
So a ketogenic diet is a high-fat, very low carbohydrate diet. A lot of times people think of the old Atkins diet, which was very high in protein, but a ketogenic diet actually doesn't have that much protein in it. It's a very moderate amount of protein. So ketogenic diets sort of work on this basis of depleting your body's sugar, getting your insulin level very low so that you're burning off fat and using what are called ketone bodies for energy. It's a diet that was originally used to treat epilepsy for people who didn't respond well to medicine. And it's been used for a long time for weight loss amongst weight loss physicians. And it's just recently, I think, gotten more popular amongst, everyone. It is not a bad way of eating, but you do have to make sure that you, if you do it, are very disciplined, because it is a very low carbohydrate intake, which even means restricting somewhat your vegetables and fruit. And it does take some dedication for a person to follow through in the long term.
How does the Mediterranean diet compare to some of what we've talked about? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up. A very heart-healthy way of eating based on how people in countries like Italy, Greece, Spain eat. So very good.
Dr. Dean Ornish, what is his diet? I think it was featured in Newsweek, or he was on the cover of Newsweek. What does it entail, and do you recommend it?
It is a vegetarian, very low-fat, only 10% of your calories from fat diet. It has been shown to be very heart-healthy. Again, it's pretty strict, so you have to be disciplined in sticking to it. But it has been shown to have some heart-healthy benefits as well.
The paleo diet is something we're hearing more and more about now. What do you think?
The paleo diet is restrictive in a number of different areas. It does not allow for any wheat, beans, no peanuts, but other nuts are okay. And it doesn't allow for any processed foods or any sugars.
But I can have my steak and burger, right?
You can. You can have meat. But it's very particular about a number of seasonings and things like that. It has been found in studies that it can be a little difficult for people to follow sometimes, so it takes some dedication there. People should plan to have to do a lot of their own food prep, but it's okay.
And the raw food diet?
So the raw food diet entails not cooking anything above a certain temperature. It could include some meats like fishes and things if people don't mind them being raw, but mostly it's going to leave you with a lot of your fruits and vegetables. There's thought to be some correlation with being underweight in the raw food diet, and being underweight is not great for you either. And so definitely some limitations with it as far as making sure you get all your nutrients and everything that you need.
Vegan diet means cutting out anything related to animal products, and we have a quick video we want to share with our viewers. This is someone who loves the vegan diet.
I figured that, if you work out hard, you run enough, you can eat whatever you want. You can eat steak every day, hamburgers, it doesn't really matter. Well, the truth is, when you're a younger man, you can do those things. But as your body gets older, everything just changes. Your metabolism slows down a little bit. You may have a family, it may slow you down a little bit from working out. So you look to other ways that kind of maybe transition your body into the next stage of your life. And I was introduced by my wife to, a different eating habit, almost like a lifestyle. We started with vegan. It made me feel like I was a better person. I wanted to wake up early in the morning. Again, I felt like I was 25 again at 40. It was just easy. I was a little more mentally sharp. I didn't feel heavy and saggy. I just wanted to enjoy life more. The truth is, you can lift all the weight you want. You can run all you want, but when your body doesn't respond to those things anymore, you have to go back to where it starts from, and that's the table, the kitchen table. It's not really hard at all. Truthfully, going back to vegan, like I said, when I was introduced by my wife, those meals took a shorter time to prepare than the average meal. That we instead of frying pork chops, again, like I said, the red beans and rice, or the average thing that we ate every day. You just have to know. And now we live in the modern day. You can actually go online, different websites, Pinterest and stuff like that. You can get these recipes, and they're quick and easy. And honestly, they're a lot cheaper to prepare also, but you have to know. You have to be willing to try something new. for the most part, I'm a creature of habit. I never want to try anything new. But now I'm like, you know what, bring it on. I feel great. I look better. I'm out leaner than I was when I was 25. And I just don't mind tackling, every day anymore. And I think it's because of my eating habits.
Now, this is a patient of yours, or do you know this fella?
That is my wonderful husband.
And he sounds, you've mentioned the word committed several times in here, but you have to be committed. He sounds like he's committed.
Yes, in fact, so we tried different eating plans. We were vegan for a month. We did the paleo diet for a month and the ketogenic diet for a month just to see how we felt, weight-wise. He's very athletic, so athletic performance-wise.
Where'd you settle?
Well, so he kept wanting to go back to vegan. I was hesitant to give up all animal products, so we are now vegetarians.
And you've got children, so
We do.
that factors into all this. It's one thing for adults to choose,
Right.
but got to have the cereal in the morning and the other things. There,
Well,
right?
cereal. So, and I was discussing this with my son, who is 6, and he was really a little bit distraught to find out he was eating vegetarian food when he was eating cheese pizza or cookies or things like that those were in fact vegetarian. So, they do eat plenty of things that, a lot of things that we eat every day don't have any meat in them. And if the kids want something with meat, then they can still have it. And so it's fine. They don't eat a lot of meat anyway, but, we let them still have what they like. And
Leading by example.
yes.
Good for you. Dr. Amanda Fontenot. It has been a lot of fun and very educational. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we thank the doctor for her good work in the Ochsner Health System. Well, to make an appointment with any Ochsner physician, including this week's guest, or to register for any of Ochsner's Hello Health seminars, you can call Ochsner at the number you see on your screen or send us an email. And there's our address, hellohealth@ochsner.org. As a reminder, you can re-watch this presentation or many of our other Hello Health programs on our Ochsner website at ochsner.org. Just type Hello Health in the search box. Our thanks again to this week's guest. Thanks to Humana and Ochsner for making our program possible. And you know where our final thanks goes, to you for your support of our program, Hello Health. And we'll see you next time.